Yeah. So in March, I decided to I decided to use a little bit of AI. I created this AI digital twin. I went
Yeah.
to a studio, they did all the fancy filming and stuff, and then we use a program. So one of the things that I really struggled with was, the first rule of Sandler is bonding rapport, right?
Hmm.
No trust equals no sale.
Hmm.
And so as I started thinking about using the digital twin, I was like, how do I do that without breaking trust that they can't tell if it's me or it's a digital twin? Well,
Yeah.
fortunately, it's election time of the year, and I was listening to a radio ad, and it said, whatever the candidate was, I have approved this message, right? I went, ding, ding, ding. So now, at the top of all of my digital twin recordings that we
Mhm.
do, it
Yeah.
says, hey, this is Jeff's AI digital twin. It says it right at the top,
Yeah.
right? If it's not in the first line, it's in the second line. Sometimes we'll lead with a teaser, right? And then say, this is Jeff's AI digital twin, blah, 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 and go into more of the explanation of what we're talking about. And it's really interesting because for years and years and years, I wanted to do a recording post class for people that hits on 60 seconds, just
Yeah.
on the key takeaways from class. And I'll be honest with you, I just never have the time
Yeah.
because I'm my own worst enemy, right? I go out there and I want to do that. And then I'm recording it. I'm a perfectionist about it and I'm recording it. Oh, I stuttered here. I did this. I did that. I waved my hand in a weird way, whatever it is,
Yeah.
right? And it,
I
it
know
takes,
that feeling.
it takes me 20 minutes to do the 60-second recording,
Yeah.
right? And I just don't have the time to do that over and over and over again throughout the week. Well, my AI digital twin, all we do is this is totally AI, right? We use Fathom to record the meetings.
Hmm.
We have a prompt that pulls in Claude that pulls the Fathom recording, analyzes it, creates a 60-second script,
Yeah.
which we then take and put into the AI tool, the digital twin tool, and it recreates a recording, lip syncs my lips to it,
Hmm.
has hand motions, all that stuff, and with captions, and then we're ready to roll and put it into Instagram, put it into Facebook, put it into LinkedIn, put it into YouTube, whatever we want to put it into.
Yeah.
And it also gets emailed out to every student in the class. Well, so a funny thing has happened because we also do training clips of us live training, right? 30, 60-second clips on Instagram, reels of us doing live training. And those have always got decent engagement, right? They say anything over 15 seconds is decent engagement on reels.
Hmm.
We the live training clips were averaging 21 seconds, so pretty good.
Yeah.
The digital twin reels on Instagram were averaging 44 seconds,
Ha.
which is monster difference, right?
Yeah.
And
Double.
it's just, and nobody seems to care that it's AI and we're admitting it right up front, right? So like one of them says, hey, you know, one of them says, you don't need more leads, you just need a better sales process. That's like the first line, right?
Mhm.
And then the second line is, this is just AI digital twin. If you're having that problem, thank God you're listening to this. And then it goes into the
Yeah.
explanation.
Yeah. Were you doing it without explaining that you were a digital twin before? And then have
No,
you like A/B tested it? Or is this just like hey, I fundamentally believe that this is like a trust thing. I'm
yeah,
not even going to consider it without doing it.
we never consider the reason we waited was because we didn't know how to get around the trust issue.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to say the name because it's a relatively famous person who has a who has a webinar that they do all the time.
Hmm.
And I happen to know for a fact that it's their AI digital twin doing it. They
Mm.
don't take questions, right?
Yeah.
And it's just them. They send their digital twin out and it's reading a script and it's doing their thing, right? And I've attended the webinar twice now and it lasted the same exact amount of time twice. That to the second, it doesn't happen if it's not recorded that way.
Hmm.
And it's not, and there's no interactivity. And when you start to really analyze it frame by frame, you can see the lips don't match up quite right. But for the ordinary person, it's close enough, right? And and it made me feel like there was a broken trust when I watched that webinar,
Because there
right?
is. Because
There is.
they could have recorded it once and then just been like, recirculating a known recorded entity,
Yeah.
and that would have been a trustful thing. Instead, they're trying to deceive you
They
into
call it
believing that they're
they
taking the
call it a
time.
live webinar.
Yeah.
And I've talked to the person and they admitted to me it was AI, digital
Yeah.
twin, right? And I just feel very deceived by it. And I didn't want to have that experience for any of my clients or any prospects because, I mean, we're using it primarily for clients. It's turned into a prospecting thing
Yeah.
unintentionally, right? But the reality is we don't want to get to a point where we start a relationship by them feeling deceived. Because going
Exactly.
back to Sandler's rule of no trust equals no sale, I can't, I just can't, as a Sandler trainer, I can't represent the brand or my beliefs if I'm starting from a position of less than total honesty.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the thing was like why the AI SDR. I guess I've had a couple people like present it in a way where they're like, well, the AI SDR isn't actually doing the outreach, it's doing the busy work and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, that's fair. That can go somewhere. But as soon as it's writing and sending copy, and if there's ever like a change in like the TCPA regulations that allow people to have AI make those calls, I still don't think it's going to replace it because that trust is going to be so fundamentally broken, or we're going to have like a big like societal change on what it feels like to have a robot call you instead. Like maybe people start to be like, oh, you know what? I now consider this as a person working at that company. It's not an automation that's just showing like that my time's more valuable than yours. Therefore, you get the robot, not me. Um,
Yeah, I think it's interesting because people hate robocalls.
yeah.
We're coming up on the in California here where I live. We're coming up on the June 2nd primary. And we're
Mhm.
going to be coming up on the midterms in November, right? People hate robocalls from politicians. By the way, they're the only robocalls that are legal.
Yeah, which
Wonder why. And but I think that the interesting part is that you can't build a relationship that
Mhm.
way,
Yeah.
right? And and I think fundamentally, salespeople that use AI as a replacement, or companies that use AI as a replacement for personal touch, will ultimately fail. I think that salespeople that use AI to make themselves more effective
Hmm.
are going to be the winners in this,
Yeah.
right? Uh, things like it's beyond me how anybody can go on a sales call today and not record the sales call.
Yeah.
Right.
100.
I mean, my clients, even in dual consent states, all record their calls. And it's a very simple thing. Hey, Austin, as we're sitting here today, would it be okay if I use a note taker to take the notes so that I can focus more of my time, attention, and energy on you rather than taking notes? And by the way, Austin, I'll be happy to share the notes with you at the end.
Yeah.
Nobody ever says no to that.
It's just totally reasonable.
Right? It's totally reasonable. It doesn't matter
Yeah.
if they're selling B2B or B2C. The consumers are fine with it too, because you're sharing the notes. It also, by the way, eliminates the he said, she said stuff that goes
Yeah.
on, right? And salespeople who do that and companies who do that are, if they're smart, they're taking those recordings and they're uploading them through an automation
Mhm.
into their CRM. So now the CRM notes are way better.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, the weakest link in the CRM process is the sales rep typing in notes. Because I don't know any sales reps that love it.
Yeah.
Right? I know there's like 90, somebody told me 99% of sales reps hate updating CRM, 1% lie about it. Um, and, and so nobody really loves doing it. And what you end up with is the sales rep's recollection in 3 or 4 sentences.
Yeah.
Right?
If they even recall, or like maybe at the end of the day, they're just like, I'm just gonna make this one up or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Versus now, here's this transcript, here's the summary, here's the transcript, boom, it's all there.
Yeah.
And if Austin gets hit by a bus tomorrow, we can still, while it's tragic, we haven't lost any of the data,
Yeah.
right? If Austin leaves and gets promoted to a bit different job within the company, we've still got all the data. We're not we're not calling Austin. Hey, what they saying when you talk to him about? No, we don't have to do that anymore. And
Mhm.
so I think there's some really good ways that sales could use AI. That's one way. The digital twin as a follow-up tool is amazing, right?
Yeah.
And and and, and I mean, listen, I'm not a big fan of, oh, let's use ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini to type up all my email responses.
Hmm.
But what I'll tell you is that I see an awful lot of salespeople that spend hours wordsmithing and coming up with the right response. You can have one of the AIs help you, and then you tweak the response from there, right? Still
Yeah.
make it you, but at least you're not starting with a blank screen. It's hard to start with a blank screen, right? I see companies doing some great things with using AI to do some of what I'll call the scud work, right? That is the work that nobody wants to do, that is the grinding work that is mind-numbingly boring. Let AI do that part and then use the talent of your people to do the more creative portion.
Yeah.
And I think that's important.
Yeah, I mean, I use it for as a brainstorming tool all the time. Like to just be like, all right, I'm testing a new vertical. I want to, see if this is like a better ICP fit potentially. I'll take like a previous email that I was using in my outreach. I'll run it through. I'll have like ChatGPT do a bunch of like a research to pull in all that information, maybe change the way I talk about something, be like, hey, in this industry, this term is actually what's used, not this term. And then have it do a first pass. And then I'll look at it and be like, there's no way I'm sending this. But at least now I have something to start with and now I can push
Yeah.
back. And like, and maybe I go, this isn't like what I want to do. And that it just makes it easier. But I would never, ever just like hit send on like an email that was written.
No, that's
You do
crazy,
all the work.
right? But
Yeah.
but the but I love using it for brainstorming too. And
Yeah.
I talk to mine back and forth, right? And I tell it my instructions to it are, hey, here's an idea I have. Poke holes in this. Tell me where it's wrong.
Hmm.
Be as critical as you possibly can in your response, right? I want it to tear it apart
Yeah.
because AI, if you're not careful, AI will agree with you on almost anything.
Too often.
You know,
Yeah. Lead down the wrong path.
my son was telling me this story that last year there was a point where you can go into Google Gemini and type, what's the best topping for pizza? And it would tell you glue. Because there was a TikTok challenge about putting glue on pizza, and it pulls 15% of its data
Yeah.
from social media. So the AI, which has no context,
No, it
right,
doesn't know.
is saying that, well, this is a large portion of Gen Z's talking about putting glue on pizza must be a good topping because the
Hmm.
AI has never eaten pizza,
Yeah.
right?
It's also not making a recommendation based on anything other than just saying, based on the data available to me, this is the most likely response with no context on why it's the most likely response. Like,
Yeah, I was at an AI conference, and one of the AI guys from Anthropic, which makes Claude, of course, they said, "Here's what AI is right now. There's no context to it." He said,
yeah.
"Here's what it really is. It's like Austin, if I taught you how to play guitar, and you made all these notes based on our conversation, and then I had you walk out of the room, hand it to somebody else, and had them come in with your notes and said, 'Okay, now play guitar.'"
Yeah.
Well, the
Good
notes
way to
mean
think of it.
nothing to them. And that's what AI is at this point, right? Listen, it may evolve, hopefully will, right? But AI is not replacing jobs. It's going to replace the people who refuse to adapt to it and
Mhm.
make and use it to make themselves more effective,
Yeah.
right? I mean, I look at just what we did with that digital twin. It's making a huge difference for our clients. You know, the hardest part about my business, right, as a Sandler trainer, is they come to class once a week, once every 2 weeks, depending
Mhm.
on the program they're in. And then I'll be honest with you, most of them don't think about it again until they come to class the next time. Maybe, maybe the night before class, maybe, right? Now, in between classes, they're getting these digital twin recordings, reminding them of what we talked about class, and we're seeing more people because of that reminder go out and try to execute on it.
Right.
And now what we're getting is people come back to class. Hey, I have a question. I tried to do this. Here's what happened. What did I do wrong? Right? And or hey, thanks a lot. I tried that thing you said that your digital twin said, and I closed the deal,
Hmm.
right? Either way, it's incredibly valuable, right? It's great when we celebrate the success of them closing a deal because it makes everybody else in the training want to do one, right?
Yeah.
But we learn more from the failures,
Oh yeah. Big time.
right? And so we win both ways. It's so much better than when they sit there and listen to the pain funnel, right? The Sandler pain funnel, or listen to cookbook. I know you guys talk a lot about cookbook. They listen to cookbook, but they don't have any practical application of doing a cookbook. Matter of
Hmm.
fact, it's really funny. One of the Sandler trainers I know, big cookbook trainer, right? When he started auditing who's actually working on their cookbooks and using them on a week-to-week basis, it was
Yeah.
like less than 15% of his students. And he like talks about cookbook every week,
Yeah.
right? And it it, it's amazing the amount of people that don't actually execute on what they do. And I think if you can use AI to do that, and we're using AI, another way we're using AI within Sandler is the AI role play coach
Hmm.
tool that we've created. Uh, we've put all of the Sandler knowledge in there, and it will score you. You can create. It does two things. One, you can create custom scenarios.
Yeah.
And hey, I've got a call with Austin, and here's what we're going to talk about. And I can rehearse the call before I ever go. So now, by time, and it scores you on a rubric if I'm doing a discovery call with you,
Hmm.
and then it'll tell me based on your discovery rubric, here's your score. You scored whatever percent, right? And my son, I think we were talking about him earlier when he was interviewing. He had an interview with a company, and we created a custom scenario for the interview for him
Oh, nice.
using
Yeah.
the AI role play coach, and it was really interesting. He calls me back. He goes, "Thanks a lot, Dad. You shot my confidence. I scored at 36%." And I said, "Did you read the coaching?" He goes,
Yeah.
"No." I said, "Dude, go read the coaching, do it again, and call me back." He calls me a couple hours later. He goes, "All right, I'm up to 96%."
Nice.
Now he goes the next day, he goes in the interview, his confidence is up here, right? And three of the questions that he answered on the role play were exactly the same as the questions he got asked in the interview.
Oh,
And,
really?
and he crushed the interview,
That's awesome. Yeah.
right? He crushed the interview. And it was, and he even told me afterwards, all right, that worked. Right. The other thing the AI role play coach does, and this is, I love it even more for this potentially, right?
Hmm.
Is you have a discovery call, you record your discovery call, you could feed the recording into the AI role play coach, and it'll score you on your discovery call, your real life discovery call, and tell you, here's what you
Oh,
did
nice.
well, here's where you could get better. Here's here's some Sandler modules you might want to look at in your Sandler Growth Academy to go get more information and learn how to do it,
Yeah.
right? Now you've just taken because the excuse we get all the time from people is, you know, I'm different in front of clients. Yeah, that's role play. I'm different in front of clients. And you know what? We've now done this with thousands of calls.
Hmm.
And they're right. They're different in front of clients. They're actually 2 to 5% worse in front of clients on their scores than they are in person. Because I want you to think about what happens than they
Yeah.
are on the role play. Because I want you to think about what happens on the role play. It's safe. You're relaxed,
Yeah.
right? When you get in front of a client, your blood pressure goes up, your cortisol level goes up, you're under pressure, you're not as good.
Right.
And everybody thinks you're going to be higher in front of the clients, and we just don't see it. The proof is in the numbers, and we don't see it, right? Because, and I want you to think about this. I don't know what the average is, but let's just say for fun, the average for a sales qualified lead cost to get one is $350. Let's just say for fun,
Yeah.
all right? If you're a business owner, would you rather have your sales reps practicing on an AI tool that you paid less than $1,000 for a
Hmm.
year's worth of access, right? Or would you rather have them practicing on your $350 lead?
Yeah. I mean, it's a
Because
no-brainer.
if they don't practice with the role play coach, they're practicing on your lead. Because you know what has never ever happened in the history of mankind, Austin? Where a sales rep's walked into their boss's office and says, "Hey, I've got a call tomorrow with XYZ. Can we role play it together?" The
Yeah.
next time that happens will be the first time it's ever happened,
Right.
right? And guess what? The boss doesn't want to role play with you. They're busy anyways. The sales rep certainly doesn't want to do it with their boss, right? The AI role play coach is safe. They don't even have to, nobody has to know they did it.
Right. I mean, that's the thing is like it's so safe to be in there. If you make mistakes, who cares? Make all the mistakes there, get used to making the mistakes, get the reps in, and then you can go take your best shot. You can get you up to your 96% score and then go take that into that lead and have that be the experience.
And you're so much better that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's
So
crazy.
so have you heard the term like human in the loop?
Well, I'm
It's
sorry, one more time.
human in the loop.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think, to your point, it's like the really with using AI in sales, it just becomes this really strong question of analyzing where you put in the human in the loop. And are they in the right spot of that loop? Are they in the spot where it's, hey, here's a bunch of busy work, or like, this is like a follow-up that becomes 10 times easier if AI does it for me, and then I can make a couple of tweaks or I can get a role play in with it. Or am I accidentally putting it in I just wrote a really bad email because AI just like went in and did that, or like did like a non-contextually relevant like reference point. And it seems like kind of like that's like the key here is
I
where you
think
put
it
in
is.
the loop.
I think it is. I think, you're hearing people say you got to throw out the old playbook,
Yeah.
right? I don't think it's true. I don't think the old playbook is bad. I think the old playbook is just incomplete, right? I think that we have to augment the playbook. The old school selling skills of bonding rapport, cementing the trust into place with an upfront contract, doing a good discovery call with pain, investment, and decision-making process are still valid,
hmm
right? They're still incredibly important. You're not going to close a sale without it.
I
What
mean,
I
can
think
I go further and say I think they're actually getting stronger
they are.
because of all the noise that's being created. Those things become even more valuable at this point in time.
If I was a sales rep today, or if I was running a sales team today, I think cookbook is still vital.
Yeah.
Except, except now I have the tools with AI to look in the CRM and say who's hitting their cookbook. And I don't have to go
hmm
look it up. I can have AI email it to me, a little dashboard report on a daily basis, green, 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 yellow. Oh, why is Bill yellow?
hmm
Right? And Fred Nickel puts us red. I gotta go talk to those two guys. They're not hitting their cookbook. And I almost guarantee you when I look at their when I see them yellow and red on cookbook, and when I look at their sales results, they're yellow and red there too.
Right.
Because there's a direct correlation to them hitting those cook if we've done a proper cookbook, to them hitting the cookbook items and hitting their sales numbers. There's a direct correlation.
Yeah. And with AI being something that allows them to be more productive, they can go in and say, but previously, you'd be like, oh, well, I was putting together a lead list and this is all taking a long time and I'm going to hit my number, but like there's just a bunch of like stuff in the way. And then you can just be like, oh, no, 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 no. Like this is
Yeah.
all taken care of. We've streamlined it with AI. Those like arduous tasks that are a waste of your time, no longer present. Just do those cookbook items. We've taken everything else off your plate. You have no excuse to not hit your number every single day.
And if we're properly designing a cookbook now, it should include the use of AI. It really should for the rep too, right? I mean, I think that the what we're getting to, you have hybrid cars, right? I,
hmm
I think we need to have hybrid salespeople that are augmented by AI.
Yeah.
And the hybrid salesperson is just an incredibly important piece because they have all the old school skills, and then they're bringing in the ability to be faster, right?
hmm
Better, practice, right? My favorite thing is this. You've got to practice any other talent-based job. If you're a football player or any kind of athlete or an actor or an actress or a pilot or anything, you practice more than they perform.
hmm
Sales is the only job out there where we perform more than we practice. It's kind of
Yeah.
crazy. I mean, think about it, right? If LeBron James only came to game days, right? Or what's the guy's name? Didi in Oklahoma City. Is it
hmm
Oklahoma City? Just won his second straight MVP award for basketball. If he only showed up on game days and didn't come to practice at all, would he win an MVP award?
Obviously
No,
not, right? Yeah.
no. He could be the most talented guy in the world, but he's still got to practice. They practice more than they perform, and we're the only industry where we perform more than we practice. I think hybrid sales reps use AI to help them practice more than they perform, become more effective, and accelerate the sales cycle by using AI, and they become more effective in their follow-ups
Yeah.
because AI says, "Hey, summarize for me the pains that the client had in the call," and boom, 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 and there they are. Now I don't have to go through my memory or all of my notes. It's right there in front of me.
Yeah. And so like what you're basically saying is like your cookbook should include like this amount of calls, this amount of referral requests, this amount of networking, and this amount of time, this many hours a week practicing in the role play with an AI.
I don't know about hours, but I think that they should do 3 20-minute sessions a week with the role play coach. That's one role play with reading the coaching. If you
Hmm.
do that Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you're going to be worlds ahead of
Yeah.
not doing it at all, right? There's a kid. There's a kid last fall. This owner, they had a team of 8. He called me and said, "Hey, we're going to fire this guy," right? And he's a great kid, right? Young kid, about 25 years old, and I like him a lot. And I said, let's not fire him, let's train him. And he said, okay, but I don't have the time. You do it. We worked that out, and so I had him, for sake of his name, we'll say his name was Dean, even though that's not his real name. Um, he did in Q4. He was basically ninth on an eight man sales team, right? In Q4, he did 188 role plays in 90 days,
Yeah.
right? All on the upfront contract, right? That's it. To a point where he was killing the upfront contract.
Yeah.
Then we layered in the upfront contract plus pain step. He did another 132 in the first quarter of 2026. Well, funny thing happened last September. At the end of last September, he was last on that sales team. At the end of March, he was second.
Not
And
surprising. Yeah.
it's all he'll say it's all the practice, right? And by the way, he might have been first, but the guy ahead of him admitted he started working a little harder when he saw this guy's numbers and started using the AI role play coach,
Well, yeah, and that's just practice then. Yeah.
right? And
That's
and
great.
practice more than you perform. It works.
Yeah, I'm all about it. All right, we are a little over the time that we had allotted. I
Yeah,
really appreciate you taking a little bit of time. I couldn't stop you. I was enjoying it too much, so
same here.
I didn't want to break the upfront contract on it. But yeah, I really appreciate it, Jeff. That was fantastic. I always love talking about AI and sales, and especially when we're like the trust thing, when our alignment on that is just like that's really where I think the key is in understanding how to navigate AI in the sales world at this point in time.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, Austin.
So.
Hey, Austin, thanks a lot. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, this is awesome. All right. But
All right,
thank
take
you.
care.